When talking of tennis in Zimbabwe, the first name that comes to our head is the Black family. Talking of Kara, Wayne and Bryan, who are the legends of all time in Zimbabwe. This is Fans of Africa, where we celebrate sports by giving fans a voice. I'm visiting, a lot of bodybuilders, cricket fans, football fans, but now I have a tennis fan who is my fan of the week, Bryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you so much for welcoming me to your place. So I want to know, Bryan, how you started being a fan of tennis?
It started off when I was in primary school. I tried a lot of sports actually. I tried cricket, tried hockey, basketball. Then finally when I got into the tennis court, I just felt at home. And luckily for me, the first time someone saw me play, they saw potential in me, and they were like, you know what, you should totally be serious with this. So he then became my coach, and from then on I started practicing more. I would, spare my weekends after school when everyone else is going for basketball, hockey, and all that. I was just like, nah, I'm gonna be in the tennis court. So ever since then, it's just been, And then I had a lot of friends who actually played tennis as well. So it was one of those when we're hanging out, we're playing tennis, but they weren't as serious as I was. I then got deep inside. So that's how it started.
So you actually make it, with an exception of basketball, you also making that you once tried hockey, and then you also ventured into tennis, which kind of seemed like Moriwan was uptown or something along those lines. Would you say, how did you manage to end up playing tennis? And stuff like that?
Okay, I grew up here in Greendale. I learned at Courtney Sulu, which is just down the road. Yeah, so uptown you can say so, but not really. I mean,
no, I'm just saying,
we could totally talk about life background, but we can say uptown. But the love for tennis had nothing to do with being uptown. It was just one of those sports that just caught my heart. I was talented in a lot of things. Soccer, I was in the first team and everything, but then tennis was just different for me. There's okay, let's just say ineka swag. That's not my sport, so you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So apparently, apart from you being a tennis fan, and you're also saying that you also tried soccer. You were in the first team. So I see that you have a Real Madrid.
Big fan.
You support Real Madrid.
Yeah. I started supporting Real Madrid when I was in grade 5. Back in the day when there was an Figo and the likes, so Ronaldo, and I've been a fan since I was a kid.
Wow. So tell me, when it comes to the world of tennis, I think it's actually one of those moments whereby you actually find very few fans to the tennis court compared to other sports. So can you just share with us some of the rules, how would you consider someone being a winner when it comes to the world of tennis?
Okay, I think the reason why there's less people who support tennis, especially here in Zimbabwe or Africa, is because tennis is quite complex. To play, number one, and to understand when you're watching. Okay. So how it goes is a game consists of 4 points. You've got your 15, you've got your 30, 40, and then game. Say I'm playing you. We're playing first game. I get 15, you get 15. I get 30, you get 30. I get 40, you get 40. That's juice. So when we get to juice, that's a tie. We have to play up to an advantage. So we can say the advantage is, say, the 45. And then whoever wins the next point, if I'm the one who gets advantage, if I win the next point, I win the game. So a game consists of 4 points, 15, 40, 30 game. And then we play up to 6 games. So you have to win 6 games within a set. So 6 games make up a set. And when you're playing a tennis match, it depends on what you're playing. It's either you're playing a best of 3 or a best of 5.
So where's the difference when it comes to the best of 3 and then?
Okay, it differs with the type of tournament. When it's a Grand Slam tournament, for example, your US Open, your French Open, your Wimbledon, your Australian Open, those, for men, they play those to best of 5, but the women play best of 3. Whatever tournament they play, women play best of 3. Best of 3 basically means whoever's winning has to get 2 sets. And then best of 5 means whoever's winning has to get 3. So it's either going to be a 3-0, a 3-1, or a 3-2. That's the scoring. Some smaller scale tournaments, men will also play best of 3, where the winner gets either a 2-0 or a 2-1. That's how tennis scores. In a more complex situation, you'll get like in a set, for example, we're playing up to 6, and the winner has to win 6-1, 6-0, 6-3, 6-4. But if we get to 5-5, now that's sort of like a tie. We have to play up to 7. So which means whoever's winning the set has to get to 7 and win it off on a 7-5. But in a more complex situation, we get to 6-6. So now we have to play a tiebreaker, which is single points. Those single points are played up to 7. So it's either you can win on a 7-0, 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, 7-5. If we get to 6-6, now that's a complex situation. Now we have to win it out by 2. Whoever's winning has to win with a difference of 2 points. In some tournaments, the rules differ. You then play a tiebreak. Whoever gets to 10 first, then wins the set. So it all depends with the different tournament you're playing, and how difficult the opponent is, how far they're going to push you. So that's basically how tennis goes. It's not timed. It's played until the last point.
Until the last point. Even until if it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 20.
Yeah. The bad part about tennis is you can go 5 hours on a match.
Wow. I've seen that.
Yeah. You can go 5 hours. I remember if it's not Nadal and Federer who went up to 5, it should be Djokovic and Nadal. Yeah. So it's one of those matches that, depending on how intense your opponent is and how bad you want it to.
So talking of one being intense, I think on my own point of view, I think a tennis court is one of those smallest grounds compared to Pinimangwa pitches, maybe.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe similar to volleyball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's more like one person has this very small part when he was playing. So what is needed when it comes to the issue of physique for a tennis player to say, no, this person, when talk of rugby, they're supposed to be, muscular.
Yeah.
When it comes to tennis, what's so different?
Okay, I remember when I was then playing tennis in high school, the guys who played rugby and cricket used to make fun of tennis players because the rest of us were much smaller,
Yeah.
Back in the day, we never really thought you'd require to go to the gym, because you're like, I'm just hitting a tennis ball, But over time, with watching more tennis, I follow a lot of tennis players, watching their routines, their workouts and stuff. It's intense. It requires a lot of physicality because, number one, you have to have endurance. If you're gonna be on the court for 5 hours and you're chasing a ball up and down the court sideways, it's intense. I mean, I've played tennis. I've played matches where I feel like I just want to die. It's a small space, but if you're playing someone who's really good, they're making you run, from that end to that end,
yes.
And then from the baseline to the net, and then they lob you, you're running back again, and you're doing that over and over and over again. So I would say physically you'd require just the same amount of workouts as a rugby player. The only difference is they're playing 80 minutes of intense, it's physical, there's contact and stuff, but we're chasing a ball, but we could go to 5 hours, 2, 3, So the gym part of it, probably less weights, but more cardio. You lift less weights, but there's more running, so you're gonna do a lot of cardio. You're that type of thing. You probably get it, yeah.
I think so much, Bryan. We can also talk of sports without mentioning, or without mentioning, the issue of memories. Right after the break, we continue as we get to know what are his special memories when it comes to the world of tennis. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fans of Africa, where we're celebrating sports, and I am with a fan of tennis. So I actually mentioned the issue of memories. So tell me, Bryan, can we talk of the memories that you have in the world of tennis? Maybe you playing, or maybe some of the matches that you ever attended.
Yeah, I would like to say the best tennis memory I have is my own. I got the privilege of winning. There's this schoolboy cup called the Mim du Toy. It's played amongst the best schoolboy teams in Zimbabwe. You've got your Prince Edward, your St. George's, your St. John's, your CBC, your Peterhouse. I think there's about 10 to 12 of the best schools in Zim. So I was at Prince Edward, yeah? And since I was at Prince Edward in Form 1, we never won. And we had really good teams, yeah. I remember I was captained by this one, Bryan from Vuti, and Adere Kona, who were my seniors. Really good guys, you know, but still it was that bad. So I think Prince Edward never won that cup for over 20 years, you know. And then in 2010, when I was captaining Prince Edward tennis team, we won that cup. So for me, that's like the best tennis memory ever. It's just unfortunate I didn't bring. I have a tennis ball that we all signed, you know. The team that won that year, I've got everyone's signature on that ball. I've had it since 2010 and I have it still today. So it's one of those memories I will never forget,
Okay.
you know. And then on the international scene, I think Rafael Nadal breaking the record for French Open, winning his 13th title. That was just, it was amazing because he was playing Djokovic, who was having an amazing season, and I was just there holding my heart like, oh my god, he's gonna lose, but then he pulled through, you know. And then also, I think recently I've had the privilege of watching a new kid on the block. You know, his name is Carlos Alcaraz. He's Spanish. I just have a thing for all things Spain, you know, Real Madrid, Rafael Nadal, you know. I love Spain, you know. So, yeah, a new kid from Spain breaking fourth on the block, you know. Recently he won, which cup was it? I can't remember. But he beat Nadal in the semis and then Djokovic in the final. So those are some of the memories. I'm just there like, wow.
But we cannot talk of memories without the bad ones. I want to hear those ones.
The bad ones?
Yeah, the bad ones. Just one. Because I know there are many. I just want one.
Okay.
One.
I remember... well, I'll take you back to high school. I remember... was it 2009? You know, the Mim du Toy Cup. We came this close to winning. This close. We're playing St. George's at St. George's. And we lost by, I think, 2 games. Because one of our players forfeited. He got injured. And then, you know, I remember the ride back to school, we were just quiet on the bus. I literally cried, actually, on that day. A couple of us cried, you know. We're like, gosh, we've been working so hard. We came so close. But then it just wasn't enough, you know. And that year would have meant the most because Georges had a really good side. It would have meant everything to us because they were the best that year. If we had beaten them, I mean, it would have really, you know, but then unfortunately we couldn't.
Now let's talk about the greatest of all time in the world of tennis. Of course, we talked of Bryan and then we talked of him, and you know,
yeah.
Can we talk of Zim first? Or maybe you're not a fan of Zim.
No, I am. Because, it's just unfortunate that we do have tennis going on in Zim, but it's not out there like that, you know.
So I want you to hold on to that thought. We're going to get there and we get to know what's happening in the world of tennis in Zim. But for now, let's talk of the greatest of all time. Just kicking some people.
I was inspired by Genius a lot. I used to go to our sports club a lot. The times that he would be around, you know, he would come back for some tournaments. I would go there. And then also, I guess I had a similar life story to guys like Takanyi, you know. When tennis is considered an white sport, you know, but we love tennis too, you know. Yeah. So having one of our own being the best in Zim, you know, against all odds, that's pretty special. So apart from Genius, who is probably the one who's most talked about in Zimbabwe, I will give a lot of credit to Takanyi. I mean, he's amazing. I had the privilege of actually watching him play Davis Cup a couple of times here in Zim, City Sports, RS Sports. You know, you should watch me playing tennis. Like it's like looking at art. You know, you're looking at someone move, they're playing these shots, and you're just like, oh my god, I wish I could play that shot like that. And then we've also got the locks, Benji and Courtney. they're doing amazing things. They're the two names that are putting Zimbabwe on the map right now.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the world over, when people talk about tennis in Zimbabwe, they're just talking about Benji and Koni. And the funny part is, when I was in high school, we played these guys when they were Johns, and we used to get weaved. I mean, they were that good.
Yeah.
So to see someone you actually stood on the court against at some point, and now they're representing the country, that's pretty special. So yeah.
Now let's get to regional and international.
Okay. Originally, Kevin Anderson, the South African.
Yes.
It's special to have Africans who represent. I mean, he was at some point number 5 in the world. Recently retired, or he's almost retiring. He's one of the guys I always remember, because I'm African. I love Africa. I'm always going to be rooting for the African. Whatever sport, at whatever stage, I will always support the African. If they're not playing against, my all-time favorite, I'll be there like, yay, let's go Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kevin Anderson, definitely,
Now, so I want to understand, when it comes to I'll give an example of football.
Mm-hmm.
We have the English Premier League, we have the La Liga. How does it work like when it comes to the tennis world? I know there is US Open, some of those. Can you just share with us some of those that exist there?
Okay, so like I said earlier on when I was talking about the scoring, we've got what we call the Grand Slams, which is the biggest tournaments in tennis. It's pretty much like your UEFA of tennis, or your World Cup. So we've got the Australian Open, which starts first early on in the year, and then we've got your French Open right about in June here. Then we've got your US Open. Wimbledon comes next, and then I think we close off with the US Open. So it's those 4 Grand Slams.
Okay.
Those are the biggest tennis tournaments, yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Bryan, on that one. So right after the break, we continue having a chit chat, as well as getting to know how is tennis doing in Zimbabwe. This Fans of Africa. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fans of Africa, and I'm joined by my fan of the week, Bryan, who is a fan of tennis. So, Bryan, I didn't get you. Who is your favorite of all time, like your favorite player when it comes to the world of tennis?
That's easy. Male, Rafael Nadal.
Okay.
All the way. All the way.
Why that one in particular?
All things Spain. But besides,
No, and I think by now we're supposed to exclude
but
Spain from this
but
narrative.
apart from that,
Yes.
though, for starters, when I started watching tennis, I just liked his fashion sense. He used to wear these really long shorts and a vest. I used to be crazy about the racket that he used, the Babolat, because when I was playing, I always wanted that racket. It was just, and his style of play, the endurance, how he never gave up. He was on every ball. Like, you would never play a shot that he wouldn't attempt to. And that's the type of player I was trying to be when I was playing. So I was inspired a lot by his type of play. And then, ladies. I'm a big Sloane Stephens fan. She's not that big, but I'm a big fan of hers. And also our Serena, of course. We can't talk about tennis and not talk about Serena and Venus. They changed, tennis for black people. So I'll always talk about tennis. And talk about Serena Venus, but right now, ladies seen Sloane Stephens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So there's something that is interesting that I'm picking from this fan of tennis. So apparently, when you were talking of La Liga, of Spain and everything, it's like hyperactive. When it comes to the issue of Serena Williams, like, okay, we have Serena Williams, we have... No, so what happens? Why is it that a lot of people, they don't really support women tennis that much?
Of course, I do watch female tennis, but not as much as I'm watching the males, because I'm male, of course. It's just like even football. Like, on any day, I would definitely watch the male games more than the females. Not that I won't watch the females, but it's I don't know what it is. Like, I would lie. I would totally lie. But we do support women, we do support women. I do watch those games a lot.
So you have been mentioning the issue of Anna Federer, Serena Williams. I think you're the greatest of all time, but you also mentioned the issue of retiring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold when it comes to the world of tennis? Do you always feel like those kids were doing well in tennis right now have got a potential or maybe a future that is kind of brighter apart from these guys doing great for now?
I think we've had tennis greats, from the Agassi's, the Samprases, the Federers, Nadal's, Djokovic. I don't think we're ever going to have that again. I don't think we're ever going to have one great who will go and win 20 Grand Slams like these big three have done. Because now the scene is very competitive. There were a lot of good players at the times that these guys emerged, but now it's like everyone is as good as everyone. You get. When kids were coming up practicing, they'll be like, I want to be like Nadal, I want to be like Djokovic, I want to be like Federer. And now they're at that level, and everyone is at that level. I mean, you've got your Carlos Alcaraz. He's only 18 and he's already weaving people who are number 1, number 2, number 3. You've got your Denis Shapovalov, also youngsters. You've got your Alex Aliassime, youngsters who are out there doing the most. You can't rule out the lighties nowadays. You can't just disqualify them like, experience is going to beat them now, because we saw it happening just last week. Nadal gone, Djokovic gone, and an 18-year-old champion. Now he's in the top 10, and definitely at some point he's going to be at number 1, but I can't vouch for him being on number 1 for a long time. Because it's just that competitive.
So no, let's come back home. What do you think as a fan, or what do you see? Well, there's some loopholes or maybe challenges in the world of tennis here in Zimbabwe. In as much as you had played at some point in time, you also played for those, big tournaments and stuff like that. Where do you honestly feel like we're going wrong, or we're still lagging behind?
I think as tennis lovers, as tennis enthusiasts, the ones who are involved are really trying, but the unfair advantage we face is resources. I know a lot of coaches who are trying to develop tennis in high density areas and stuff. We don't have as many tennis courts, for kids to come out and practice. Tennis is quite expensive. Just to get an original racket, you're looking at $150 to $200. Of course, you can then get second hands, but from time to time, your racket is going to wear out. You need a new one. It's expensive. You need the shoes to be on the court, and a lot of people love the sport, but are coming from backgrounds that don't allow them to play tennis because it's expensive. You need tennis balls. Your strings are going to get broken. You need them renewed every now and again. You need kit. You're going to need a bag at some point, because the better you get, the more you want to look like a professional. So I think the challenge that we have here in Zimbabwe is we don't have resources apart from the ones that we need to get on our own, which need money. We don't have the infrastructure, the tennis courts. If you don't go to a school like, I think very few government schools still have the facilities that are good enough to develop, like Prince Edward, the Churchills and stuff. You find that only the elite who go to private schools will most probably be better tennis players. But a lot of coaches now are developing children from the high density areas who are less privileged. And you find that there's a lot of those less privileged children who are even better than those who are privileged. So I think it's not to be political or anything. We don't have resources, Taba. We don't have the money. Even the technologies that a lot of countries in Europe or the world over are using now to develop talent, we don't have all that. So you find that we might have the heart, we might have, the passion, but we just don't have everything that it takes, because it takes love to get better in a sport, but you also need the environment, you need the resources, and that's just what we don't have.
Thanks so much, Bryan, for everything that you've shared with me with the world of tennis, getting to know a lot of people, a lot of new things.
Yeah.
And we hope that with time we definitely do great in Zimbabwe.
Of course.
That was my fan of the week of tennis, Bryan, as we get to know what's happening in the world of tennis. This is Fans of Africa. At the end of it all, we are supposed to have many more fans of tennis. Thanks so much for watching Fans of Africa, where we celebrate sports by giving fans a voice. I am Christian Kuramba. Be kind to one another. Next time, I'm out.